Hello and welcome to a new series on the channel called FUT Champs Pack and Play, where me and my good mate Murray are going to enter the FUT Champs world, but with a catch. We have to play our games using the red pick players that we get from our weekend league rewards. So for this first episode, we had gold 2 rewards, I believe. So we had to work with this lad, Claude Maurice. And we also had to work with this upcoming lad called Endo. So what we did is we picked Endo, we picked Claude Maurice, and we have to put a team together using these two players. Now we also did an icon pick, and this is who we got, if you haven't seen it already on the channel. A fantastic player pick. We picked, in the end, after much debate and deliberation, Samuel Eto'o, purely for the fun factor. Having a striker up front of icon standard we thought would be more fun than having a tankish midfielder like Vieira who's not going to score as many goals. So this is the team we put together, which soon became an informed Pope after the normal Pope made quite a few mistakes. Obviously in game this changes. And this video is basically going to be the highlights of how we got on. And I'm just going to sort of chat some breeze in the background. I think that's what the YouTubers say nowadays, chatting breeze. So yeah, we'll see what comes up. A fairly relevant topic in the media is the Meghan and Harry interview which happened, which I don't usually watch these kind of things in the media, but because it's been so blown up, I gave it a watch myself, and it was very interesting to see sort of what was spoken about, and I guess the honesty that Meghan and Harry, I guess, felt like they needed to share, as Eto'o smashes in an absolute beauty. I think it was a shame to see sort of figures of that high profile have to be so honest about family issues, and for, I guess, almost dirty washing to have to be shared so much. But I feel like they've got to a point where they didn't really have a choice. What my hope is that a lot of good comes out of it. So, like, obviously the things they shared, particularly in regards to the sort of, I guess, racist kind of remarks that were made, or sort of, undertones that were hinted at, to do with the baby's skin colour. And, obviously it's sad to hear that could have been made a thing, whether that be by the institution or family members in the royal family. But I think the media have probably had the biggest sort of reasons to make this such a big issue, with just some of the horrific ways they've talked about Meghan. It's like she's always the bad one, she's always the villain. It's horrific to hear that she sort of had really bad mental health issues from it, and like has basically contemplated suicide and things. Like, no one should have to get to that point, and it's horrific how the media can make someone feel that low, combined with some of the pressures behind the scenes that we maybe didn't know as much about. But I guess my hope is that with the Black Lives Matter movement and things, that we will start to see an end to racism, even the more sort of subtle racism that people might not even be aware of, that goes on behind the scenes so much more regularly than perhaps many people would realise. I just hope that we start to see a change in some of these things. And also, just, I don't know how we could see a change in it, because money just drives so much, and social media and the news, they're always going to have to pull out a big story to get people to read it. But it's just so toxic, the way they just have to constantly run people down to make money, and it's disgusting, really. And I do hope that high profile interviews like the one with Meghan and Harry will get some of these news companies to think slightly about how they go about their news articles, to think, maybe we'll tone it back a bit and maybe not make as much money, but, in order to not wreck someone's entire life. You think about examples like Caroline Flack, that sadly, she ended up committing suicide, and I'm sure the media played a big part, really, in just making her feel as rubbish as she did about the whole thing. It should never have got to that point. So that's kind of my hope for those sort of issues. While in the background, you've been seeing hopefully quite a few reasonable goals. The team, I think, on the whole, was actually really quite enjoyable overall, considering. I think the idea me and Murray had behind this series is because, we've been playing a lot of FUT Champs games with our sort of mega team, and it gets to a point where I guess it's not as fun because it's just sort of the same mechanical, like you're playing to the strengths of the good players, you know what you're doing to get the goals. But to have to work a bit harder to score with players that perhaps you wouldn't usually try, and I guess to find out some hidden gems. I think, yeah, it's hopefully going to make this series more fun for both us playing and I guess watching as well. Hopefully the video will be interesting in, yeah, just how we get on really. Eto was very clinical. We certainly learnt that. Claude Maurice was quick and had a few useful moments, but he wasn't exactly incredible. We found Endo very solid in midfield, which was kind of I guess, a borderline hidden gem. And we were pleased to link him to Wanga Matuka, who, yeah, was actually all right. He with his 2-star weak foot, Murray seemed to score a fair few with his left foot, so that didn't seem to prove to be an issue. Azeto buries another wonderful finesse shot. Toko Akambi, who's about to score now by the looks of it, he was pretty decent. He was very clinical. Was quite pleased with him. And then I think the rest of the team was more or less the same as we'd usually play with to help sort of bring up the pieces as Murray goes on a mazy skill run with Wanga Matuka, and there's that 2-star dribbling left foot to come in with a goal. Future episodes I'm going to try and make a bit shorter than this. I think because it's the first one I had to introduce it and we ended up scoring a fair few goals. But these videos shouldn't be any longer than sort of the, yeah, like 6-7 minute mark max. I'm hoping to make them more sort of 4 or 5. Murray scored that beautiful skill finish from Messi, one that we've been trying to do on many weekend leagues and failed a few times, but that one came off beautifully with the man Messi off the bench. Of course, we are allowed to bring players off the bench, particularly if we need them in certain situations, as Rooney proves here with a finesse shot off the bench. But yeah, overall we did really well. I think we ended up with 19 wins out of 30, which with a team that you could argue slightly handicapped, we were thrilled with. So yeah, I'm hoping next weekend league we can pull out the stops and we get some good red picks for it. But for now, I hope you enjoyed and see you on the next one.